Now, one thing we're talking about this evening is ghost towns. The way to prevent high streets becoming ghost towns is to help retailers survive in them. That's according to the British Retail Consortium, which has described government plans to turn empty shops into things like art galleries as misguided. Up to £3 million will be spent on filling vacant premises, but Richard Dodd of the BRC believes it's a waste of money.
Really important that retailers can thrive in town centres, because that's absolutely crucial to the success of local economies and local communities. And so what politicians at every level ought to be doing is making every effort to ensure that those retailers can survive. Certainly not waiting for retailers to go bust, for premises to become vacant, and then trying to work out a whole range of odd other uses that they can put the premises to. And certainly for government, this should be about things like addressing and reducing the business rates burden. The government's just postponed a chunk of the 5% business rates increase, which was due this month, but that actually isn't enough. They really ought to be reducing the burden, and local councils should be doing what they can in terms of things like improving access and making parking easier and cheaper so that retailers can survive in those premises.
Well, Darryl Beckford is a Conservative councillor for Macclesfield West, and he joins me on the line now. Good afternoon to you, Darryl.
Hi there, Andrew.
Hello. What's it actually like for Macclesfield? Is it seen, would you say, Macclesfield is sort of becoming a ghost town?
No, I'd say far from it. I mean, Macclesfield now is entering a new era of community spirit when it comes to the town centre. We certainly have more empty shops than we used to have. We think it's running at about 12% of premises at the moment, which isn't the highest figure in the UK. There's certainly higher elsewhere. But we do have empty shops. But what we've started to realise is that town centres shouldn't just be about shops and shouldn't just be about consumption. They should be about places that community can go and be together. So whilst the quote about putting art into shops is bad for the shopping centres may be true in that respect, I think it's possibly a good thing from a community perspective.
But would you actually agree, though, that if you do have artwork there, then you can't actually sell anything, which isn't good for the economy?
Absolutely right, but should our town centres be purely about selling things, or should it be a place where people can go and people can be together? There are much larger issues about how we sustain our shopping centres, and certainly they come under a lot of pressure at the moment. And I think there's a lot of people that need to get involved in that solution. The shopkeepers are doing their bit, they're dropping prices, and some of ours now are looking at longer opening hours to get the shoppers in. And our council is certainly considering reducing parking charges. It's been trialled in some parts of the borough, and I'm hoping that they will look to reduce those elsewhere as well. The government, with their business rates, really should be doing more. The reduction that we've just heard about is actually a deferral, so the businesses will still have to pay this money, but they'll just pay it later than they would have had to originally. This needs to be reduced, and perhaps we should be giving local councils the power to set business rates rather than having them set centrally.
Do you think that would make it easier for businesses to cope and also have a better say in the rates? Which, I mean, they've got to pay the money there, so it is it's there, you have to pay it, but have a better say in what they can afford.
Absolutely right, because they can lobby their councillors directly, they can say what's important to them, and the councillors, who are the people that are directly responsible to these businesses and to the shoppers that use them, will then have to make the decision about whether they can use that as another tool to boost the local economy.
Oh, and about the empty shops that you see on the streets, I mean, rows and rows of empty shops, they just don't look the best thing in the world. Would you say councils or the government should step in and maybe use the shops for a purpose to get people into work, or just maybe would artwork suffice there?
I think art in shops is a fantastic idea. I've already been speaking to people in Macclesfield about trialling the idea here. We've got some shops that are empty that actually, because of where they are, make it look as if it's the end of the shopping street when actually it continues on. So this blight that we see prevents shoppers from realising all of the other good shops that are there. If we can brighten those up and make them look more appealing, I think that's certainly a positive thing. And in addition, we've been speaking to our local art college about providing the work, so it gives an outlet for the students to exhibit the work that they've been doing and show us what they're capable of.
But surely it might be easier, it might be better spent than getting, like, having job centres, temporary, say, job centre style buildings or style, like, businesses or outlets to help people find the jobs that they need to do, or maybe get people in to redevelop the stores.
That's a very good idea. I mean, I don't think art is the whole answer. We've actually got a job centre in the centre of Macclesfield, which is quite accessible, and I don't think we need more than one of them, but certainly different areas could have different solutions to this, and allowing those shops to be used is one of them. But it's keen to realise that there's other people that can do things about this as well. One thing that we have noted is the shop owners themselves, not the people that run the shops, but the landlords, aren't doing much to reduce their rents. They're prepared to sit this out, and I don't think that's acceptable. And I'd also like to see the shoppers really supporting their local shops more, and leaving the supermarkets and the out-of-town centres aside and coming into the town centres where the community is.
Would you like to see the rates for shops, though? I mean, if they were to be taken down or put on, say, a holiday for the payment for renting out a building, to encourage more people to get involved in enterprise?
Absolutely. I mean, there is small business rate relief, and we at Cheshire East are trying to do more to let shops know about that and let small business know about that. It's a discount of up to 50% on the rates that they pay, but there's an estimate that only 40 to 50% of eligible people take this up, so there are a lot more people that could be saving money. But as we've said, the deferral that's been announced just means that people don't pay their increase until next year or the year after, but that increase they will still pay. And when you look at the current economy, I don't think we should be putting business rates up.
The deferrals, though, are they set in stone that they will pay it next year if it is deferred this year, or if it doesn't improve? Because at the moment we can't see too much of a light at the end of the tunnel, really.
Well, yes, this is a point. I mean, the information we've received from the Department of Communities and Local Government says it's a deferral only. They will still have to pay the rates, they just pay them later. The logic is that because business rates are tagged to the retail price index, then we're expecting this to reduce in the next year, and therefore next year there will be no rise in business rates, and that means that the rise from this year that's being postponed will be easier for the shopkeepers to deal with. It seems a bit of a risky strategy, and that's why it would be much better to have the local councils having control over the business rates to enable them to use it as they see fit.
You said you had about 12%, was it, of the shops in Macclesfield which are empty at the moment?
Yeah, as an estimate, 12%. Most, I don't think a town centre really ever sees anywhere below 4 or 5% of empty shops. Obviously, there's never a time when all shops are full. I understand some areas in the country are seeing 20 or 25%, so I think we're sitting in the middle somewhere.
But what are you doing for the shops which are you helping keep the upkeep of them, or are they just closed and boarded up?
At the moment, they're closed. They're not boarded up. They're whitewashed. And I'm trying to get in contact with the owners of those shops to see if they're prepared to take part in a scheme to make the town centre look brighter, even if they can't let those shops. Personally, I believe that if we can put something in these shop windows, if we can smarten them up, it's going to make it easier for them to let them later on, because as a prospective business, viewing a shop that's bright and vibrant, it is much more appealing than seeing one that is dark and boarded up.
Okay, Councillor Darryl Beckford, Conservative for Macclesfield West.